right, some more Bondo-rama time on the fenders. This is where we left off yesterday. You can see we got a little bit of mud on there to sand off, as well as on this guy here. I think that might put the end of Bondo work on this first fender. Second one, we got some more areas that we need to do down in here, as you can see, and we'll smooth her out, see if we can make them look good. Still learning some stuff about the video editing and all that stuff. Tried to do a voiceover on that time lapse that you saw yesterday, and it made me sound, the voice was fine, the pitch or timbre of the voice was fine, but then I was talking so fast it was ridiculous. So I'm going to do, instead of some time lapse, just straight photography all the way through, and then I'll compress that long video in the software tonight, and then try to do a voiceover on that and see if that makes sense, because there was some decent commentary that I was able to come up with. But again, still learning all this stuff, and we'll see if we can't do a better job and get better as we go. And that's what it's all about, right, folks? All right, I guess we'll catch you on the backside. See you then. Alrighty then. So yesterday we had a little bit of a problem. Like I say, I tried doing one of these voiceovers on yesterday's fast action time-lapse photography, and it didn't work out very well. So we'll see if we can try a different methodology here and see if this makes better sense. Doesn't make my voice go too fast or make it too high, like I'm on helium or something like that. So at this point, you see I'm kind of gathering tools together, getting couple of lines out there from two different air compressors that I use. I have a couple of small air compressors. Eventually one day I want to get a nice vertical high CFM capable compressor, but I just don't have that right now. So I'm using what I got, and you know, it's at least both of them will power the VA and allow me to kind of knock off some you know, extra Bondo from just splashing it all over the things like fenders, like what I'm doing here. Found some high spots, knocked them down with a little ball peen hammer, and at this point I know I got to come back with some more Bondo to, you know, fill those areas in. But when the metal's too high, it's just too high. You got to knock it down a little bit and you know, spread a little Bondo and sand it down for the next time and try to get it straight. The DA really works well on the major areas, you know, the large areas of the fender itself. In tight, when I get into the working on the little rill around the perimeter, you'll see me do more hand work on those. And then also I like to do a little hand work after the main DA, just to make sure that you know, because trying to get things straight, I just do it by feel, using my hands. And that way I can really tell by just running a little bit of the, you know, the 80 grit sandpaper over areas that I've just DA'd that, you know, I'm getting them, you know, hopefully quasi straight. So you shape it with the DA and just finalize it with, you know, some hand work of the same gradation of the sandpaper for that matter. So on this inside edge, you know, that butts up next to the bed itself proper. It's not real important that I get that super straight or anything, because I've got expansion material. Anybody that's done it, you know, external fender type vehicles of the 20s and 30s and even into the 40s know that you have expansion material. It's got a little rill of material that kind of covers a lot of sin, if you will. But it's not that big a deal, so I don't have to really worry about getting everything really super straight on those inside edges that butt up to the body. And in this case, these rear fenders butt up to the bed of the truck. So this is the first run of Bondo on this fender that I had. Just as a reminder, I've got a great big patch on the apex of this fender. When I say great big, it's about 3 inches by 4 inches in oval shape. And I took a piece of fender from one of these, I guess, and just tucked it up in there and made it work, and welded it in there, and then just put Bondo over the top of it. So you see me working on that large patch. So at this point, yeah, right where I'm working right there is where that patch is at. and so it's on the side, on the outside edge, and then welded underneath, and then just put Bondo over the top of it to try to get it to work. So yeah, just taking the major excess Bondo off from yesterday on this fender. At this point, the Bondo is plenty dry, having 24 hours of cure time on it, and so there's not any problems with clogging up the sandpaper and what have you that you get when you don't have everything very real dry like this. And so it's kind of nice to have that nice dry amount of Bondo. And I don't have the patience for the most part to really let things dry proper, as you'll see once we get into paint on this truck. So hopefully some of you out there say, hey, look, Jethro, just take it easy, just relax. It's not that big a deal. You'll be fine. And let that paint dry before you start doing stuff, start fiddling with it, and realize when you got it good enough, just walk away from it. It's good enough. So as you see, as I get onto the reel here of that fender, that I'm really doing that all by hand, because hand is what really seems to allow me to really make the shape of that reel come out and separate it from the major part of the fender itself proper. And yeah, you just got to work your way around, do your best you can, and try to knock down anything that's in excess. I did have a lot of excess on this corner here, so I ran the cheese grater to try to knock that down, and a little bit on the reel as well, and back to the sandpaper to try to dress it up and make it look finer. Notice at this point I had some low spots in there, so I knew I was going to have to come back with another run of Bondo over on this reel, right on this outside rear corner of the fender to make it work. Again, when working with the reel, I see that, or I feel that the better methodology here is to just do it by hand. The DA just doesn't, if you got some major shaping, with the DA, but you're probably better off doing it by feel, and the only way by feel is to do it by hand. The other thing too is even though the major parts of the fender have been DA'd down to a certain level, by hand seems to really make sure that everything that you did was proper, and then you get the last final feel of it by running the hand over the top of where you've already DA'd on a fender. And again, working with something out of the 20s or 30s, you got a lot of curves, a lot of real beautiful body shapes and profiles on these vehicles. So there's going to be a lot of hand work involved with those, obviously. I try to, as best I can, sometimes to move the action toward the camera, but in some cases I apologize, I do get in the way of the view of what I'm doing, so it's a little difficult to make sure that's actually happening. Kind of cleaning up the area here to see what we've got for putting the next Bondo or run of Bondo on both of these at this point. So here I am grabbing some more goop and going to apply another coat to both fenders where I know that there are areas. And I don't know if you noticed, I do mark out areas with a magic marker to kind of tell me where I've got to go with the stuff, because when you got so many areas running it simultaneously, it's kind of hard to keep track of them all, and you got to work that Bondo real fast before it starts setting up. And I think on this run here, I actually had a bit of Bondo that was left over that started setting up before I could actually apply it, so I kind of ran into a little waste on this run here. But usually I don't have enough Bondo for all the different areas that need attention, and this case here, I had more Bondo to the left than what the time was. You see I just spread that little bit right there. That was all really coarse and just really rough because I had put too much hardener in it, and it set up on me too fast. So I'm cleaning off my palette and cleaning off the squeegee, and just kind of clean it up and tidying up some things over there in order to get it to set up, and run some sandpaper on this run of Bondo. So we've got a little bit of a time lapse there that happened by just running the camera two separate scenes here, and so now this is pretty well dry. I can get into DAing it and knocking it down from that run of Bondo you see that I just applied. Again, the DA on the larger areas, and then I'll pull out and do some hand work once we get to needing to dress up the rills or some tight areas. That they all need to be done, basically by hand after you can do the major areas with the DA. And again, you see I'm working my other hand in, feeling that I've gotten it down to where it needs to be with the DA. But again, once we get past that on the larger areas of the fender, on the reel itself, you see I'm working the handwork here, trying to get things as straight as I can between the reel and the major parts of the body of the fender. Take that one off, and time to get this one going. Again, the larger areas of the fender, we run the DA, put some fresh sandpaper on the DA at this point, try to make sure that I'm hogging off as much material in short order as I can and not wasting your time and mine. Once we get past the DA, then we have to start in with the hand work. Again, hand work on the reel works fine. I noticed here I had some larger amounts of Bondo up there, so I ran the DA a little bit and then went back to doing it by hand. That's that large patch in the apex of that unit there, where I put a patch of about 3 inches by 4 inches of metal below, and feathered out a fairly large area of Bondo over the top of that area to try to make things smooth. Even the thicker sheet metal like this rusts if you give it enough time and you don't give it enough protection. So I'm sure this truck sat outside that had this fender, and in fact, I know it did. I know the truck this came off of, and it was sitting in the backyard. It had a chopped roof to it, and it's a shame because my cousin had owned it, and he let a tree grow up on the inside of it. Instead of taking the tree down, he ripped up the body. I was like, gosh darn, I'd sure like to have that. He did a wonderful chop on it. It was only about 3 inches. It wasn't too hot, too much for a 36. A 36 chopped, overly chopped, just really doesn't look right proportionally between the bed and the cab. But I actually took 2 doors from that on this project and unchopped them, which you may have seen in some earlier videos that I put together describing what we had done up to the point where we started doing live videos now, to bring you up to speed with everything that was done from 2005 up until now. We've got 20 years. Actually, this is about an anniversary. About the first week of April of 2005 is when we got this truck out of Council Bluffs, Iowa. And again, Feist helped me with that, and it was neat looking back on that stuff. So again, we're going to clean the area up a little bit and go ahead and put a little bit of primer on these guys, and that'll allow me to really see what's going on with the how close I am on these. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I didn't quite get everything I wanted to by the end of this, and you'll see this at the end of the video. So just rattle can at this juncture to see what we got. It's kind of give me a read as to what's happening on there. on these fenders, and so it allows me to really see what's going on with how bad I am or how good I am, for that matter, on this Bondo, to see where we're at on the roughness after all of the work that we've just put in with the DA and doing it by hand. These are two pieces that are going to take quite a bit of work, because there's a lot of curves to them, a lot of real work on the edges to deal with. The running boards shouldn't be near as bad once I get to those. The front fenders are going to take quite a bit. In fact, I think I got to get in order to Amazon for some plenishing hammers and some dowels to work on some areas of those front fenders that you see to the left side of your screen. There's some areas on those that really going to need some good plenishing work before I get to Bondo, and there might be some.
So I would like to be able to say that these are complete, but they're not. There are some deformations I'm finding in there, especially after I put the primer on, the rattle can primer. But I'll show you what we got. And they're not bad. But these reels, sometimes they get little bitty things on them that need fixing. There's some spots right there that I'm seeing. Overall, by feel, they're not bad. There's a couple little spots right there and what have you. But, at this point, I think I'm kind of picking the fly poop out of the pepper. Here's a spot right.
So before we were so rudely interrupted with a dead battery, I went ahead and cleaned up the rest of the stuff in the shop, and then brought the fenders outside so we could really show you what, the deformations that we still have in these things. So they're 90% there. I don't know, little bit of stuff that you find everywhere. You look on the rail, you see stuff, especially out here in the sunshine, that needs attention. And there's little spots like in there and what have you that need to be fixed up. And but overall, I think we're gonna, I feel a lot better than I did after that first day of working on the first fender. But I think we got about both of them pretty well, shaped up. And it's neat because I can hardly tell the difference between the two fenders, the ones that were bobbed versus the one that I had as whole. This was the whole one, and this is the two bobbed ones. The way I can tell the difference is that back rail especially. But outside of that, I mean, the shape, the size, the side, and what have you, and the fact that they're metal makes me pretty happy overall. So that's pretty much where we're at for today, and we'll try to get this out tonight. And I'll see if I can't do a voiceover on that area. I'm going to speed up into time lapse on the software over there. We'll see whether or not that actually works. If not, you'll see me doing stuff. But thanks again, folks. Really appreciate your patience with me as I'm getting ramped up trying to get this bodywork squared away on this 36 and learning about the electronics of this new camera and new software and everything else. So it's quite a different world for me. So we'll get this thing up and going, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again. We'll see you. Bye.